and they gave him 23 years in prison. Now, even though he probably still got another damn couple trials in Cali that he got to deal with, but as of now, he's been sentenced to 23 years in prison. Fellas, how do you feel about that?
Oh man, Weinstein. Bruh, he's the one that they really started the Times Up movement. That was because of him. And then like the Me Too movement really came because Tarana Burke, the founder or whatever, she, was trying to get at everyone else. But obviously we all know what happened with that. And so in terms of Weinstein, I'm glad that at least he's facing like a time that's more than 10 years. Because remember, we're still coming off the fact that Amber Geiger, who killed a black man in cold blood, got 10 years. Who might not even do the whole fucking 10 years off of cold blood murder. So this man Harvey Weinstein, who's arguably one of like the most influential people in Hollywood, and to have influence in Hollywood, like, bro, you get to dine with kings and queens type shit. Like, you are no joke. You can stop anything that you want to. You have so much pull. You have so much pull. You can pretty much become a politician if you that influential in Hollywood. So the fact that this man got 23 years is a W. I do believe it's a W, but I do want to point out one thing. There was a whole bunch of people talking about, oh man, this is gonna shut those niggas up. I was talking about, why don't y'all go after black men? Why don't y'all go after black men? And it's like, bruh, it's not only Harvey Weinstein that we're talking about here. That's what you're not understanding. When we was talking about Bill Cosby, we was talking about Bill Cosby because his trial was full of bullshit. That's what we was trying to get across the entire time. But a lot of motherfuckers don't listen when black men talk. We was really going after what was going on with Bill Cosby because there was inconsistency in the prosecution's cases. There were inconsistencies. You had a whole woman who wasn't even there at the time that she said she was fucking assaulted. So there was a whole bunch of shit that was not lining up in Cosby's case, which is why people was going hard for Cosby. But Harvey Weinstein, niggas knew he did the shit. Niggas knew he did this shit. The people that was coming out on Harvey Weinstein, they had receipts. These were people that also had a lot of pull too. Hell, Lupita Nyong'o had shit on Harvey Weinstein. You really thought you thought they could afford to ignore Lupita Nyong'o? She's not even a U.S. citizen. They wasn't gonna ignore her. So I'm saying all of that to say that Harvey Weinstein, even though he had all the money and all the pull in the world, he could not escape interest, or he cannot accept the status quo of what they're trying to put out there within Hollywood and the media and shit like that. And I've seen some people talk about he's probably being a scapegoat, but the only reason why I don't think that he's a scapegoat is because Harvey Weinstein, if he really, really, really wanted to, I believe that he could have at least gotten less than 20 if he really, really wanted to. But the main thing that really killed him was the fact that all the people that was accusing Weinstein, they all got on code. They was all on code. There was like, you barely heard anything about an actress having inconsistencies. You heard none of that shit. You ain't heard no foul play. Everything, the investigation seemed to run smoothly. And, they spent extra time reviewing the documents, reviewing, evidence, reviewing all that shit. They took other people's shit into account. 2 movements spawned because of it. You know what I'm saying? You had digs on him when it came to the Oscars and the Academy Awards. Like, there was absolutely no way in hell he would have gotten away with it with that much heat on him in the first place. Now, if he did it to a whole bunch of women of color, he probably would have gotten away with it. Probably. Or if he didn't have gotten away with it, he would have gotten less time if it was women of color, if it was black women. But because white women were in there too, and because they had that pull, they had that clout, they had that real feminist energy, they had that like cohesiveness. They had that code. He was not gonna beat that. He couldn't Brett Kavanaugh his way off that situation. And we nigga, I don't care what nobody say, we all knew Brett Kavanaugh did it. That motherfucker did it. Just by the way he was sweating in fucking court and the way that he was fucking fidgeting with himself and shit, that motherfucker did it. So I'm glad to see that Harvey Weinstein's going away. I think a lot of people are glad that he's going away. I think black folks in general didn't really, I won't say they didn't really care, but they really wasn't even all that invested because, you know, Harvey Weinstein, just Harvey Weinstein. But like when there was a R. Kelly or when there was like a Cosby, and not to compare the two, because we all been know that R. Kelly should have been locked up because we all been know he done did the shit. Like that's no secret. But when it came to cases like Cosby, and then, you know, fucking Michael Jackson was the one that got a lot of people angry. Michael Jackson was the one that, like because of that, we canceled one of, like, the biggest, you know, economic figures of our time, which is Oprah. When it comes to the black community, when you think of money, you think of Oprah. She's a billionaire, bruh. Ain't too many billionaires running around in the black community. The fact that we all just collectively just fucking pushed her ass out the way, that shows you that we're not compromising our principles for a check. So, and you know, Gayle King went after Kobe Bryant. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, Michael Jackson, Kobe Bryant. As soon as he passes away, God rest his soul. What's his name? Russell Simmons. He had to flee the whole fucking country because he wasn't trying to get caught up in any of that bullshit. Like, when you think about those names and the way that people was applying pressure on them, that's not to say, oh, you know, we're trying to let them get away with what these white men are getting away with. No, but there are so many more names out there that y'all collectively fucking ignore to focus on people that honestly, like, they have to investigate. They have to research everything. Like the women that come out, like at this point, we can only just go word for word. We can only just take their word for it. And as we've said many times, Ray, we cannot be put in a position where we just going on just believing women just out of the blue, because unfortunately, some women can lie. We're not saying that when somebody comes out, there is a chance that they could lie. Unfortunately, there is way too many cases of black men getting their lives fucked up because of the lies of a woman. So we have to be careful with the narratives that we're putting out there. And we also make sure that, this is not a matter, and I've said this before, it's not a matter of believing or not believing, but we support someone who claims sexual assault. Let's give them a space to really tell their story. Let's give them a space away from these cameras and shit that affect their mental health, that makes them want to that makes them want to go away from the whole situation in the first place. Let's make sure they're in a place financially to afford these lawyer fees if they do want to press charges. That at least. So we're not looking like, oh, we're just going to push them off to the side while they're doing it with something traumatic. Again, we wasn't there, so we don't know. Most of these accusations is coming out like 10, 20 years after the fact. So we don't know. We can't sit there and say he did this to you. We wasn't there. So it's important to support the women that come out or support the men that come out, because there's a lot of men in Hollywood that's been touched as little boys. There's a whole pedophile ring, you know, in Hollywood that, you know, it's like that fucking documentary, The Open Secret, which was banned and basically blackballed. There was another project like that another recent project. He was supposed to debut it on the fucking internet, like I think this week, and it got blocked. Like the server actually got took down after he paid for it. So he's gonna try and distribute that shit off DVDs, and like he was gonna like fucking expose the entire Hollywood industry. Like he had receipts, he had personal experience. He was about to fucking turn Hollywood upside down with what he was going to expose about Hollywood. But nope, the feds got him. He made the block too hot, and they fucking got him. Now, thankfully, he's not dead. But you know, him trying to expose Hollywood, there's gonna get some goons that's gonna come after him. So like when we talk about Harvey Weinstein, we got to talk about like this is something that's beyond like him sexually assaulting women because he's in a place of power. He's in a position where he can run shit. Of course, he's gonna feel like he's Big Meech and try to touch these women. Donald Trump did the same thing in that motherfucker in office. So it's bigger than just Weinstein. It's Hollywood. If you want to do Weinstein, you better look at all of motherfucking Hollywood. But y'all niggas don't want to do that because if you expose Hollywood, you pretty much destroyed what? Like you pretty much destroyed a big part of America's revenue of America. Ignoring the problems that they have to focus on some superficial bullshit. Like who's Jennifer Aniston dating this time? If Hollywood gets flipped over on his nail, nobody in America wants to deal with any of those repercussions because they ain't about that life.
I want to piggyback on the one thing you said with the black women. Uh, Basically, like this whole for some reason, and I'm not saying it really did, but it almost did. It turned into a black man, black woman kind of thing. Like it seemed like we didn't have black women's backs or some shit like that, or we wanted people like R. Kelly and Bill Cosby to get the same type of treatment that some of the white men that did wrong get. Like they wanted them to get like lesser time or at least get no time at all for the actions they did. And a lot of black men had to say no. Like if he did this stuff, he should rot in jail for what he did. Now, like you said, the Bill Cosby thing, that thing was a bunch of bullshit. I don't think he raped those women. R. Kelly, yes, I seen the tape. I seen what he did. He should really go to jail for that. But like we was telling some of these black women, it's not that we don't want them to suffer. I feel like you're putting all this thing on black men, or you're trying to make black men the face of pedophilia. And we're trying to tell you, we seeing this in the media. You have two documentaries on R. Kelly. You got this big ass spectacle on Bill Cosby where that shit was like every day you was hearing about Bill Cosby. I usually hear about Weinstein for like a week or maybe a day, and then he just goes away. And the only time I've heard of this much is now because he was in court and he has gotten convicted. Kevin Spacey, you heard about him in Sprints. Charlie Sheen, you heard about him in Sprints. They don't even talk about Les Moonves. They don't even talk about Charlie Rose. They don't talk about all these other white men. And that's what black men was trying to say. If you're going to come after us with that much vigor, you might as well go after these white men with all this vigor. But y'all didn't. And that's all we want to say. If you're going to do it to us, do it to them. And I feel like people was ignoring that, and then that's why a lot of black people was angry about that, because it's like I'd be damned if black men don't be the face of pedophilia when these white people that are actually in power doing way worse shit. And one thing I will say, I'm glad I was wrong, because I said he might do 5. He might do like the minimum and all that other stuff. He might do 5 or something like that. He might get off with an appeal or some shit like that to get him like go scot free. I'm glad they threw the book at him. I'm glad they gave him 20. I feel like justice is served. And I feel like a lot of black men like that feel that way too. So it's just like, no, we want this to happen too. We want Weinstein to get at least, life, but, we'll deal with 23 years. We as black men want that too, as much as you black women do. So now that all of this is over, or in my eyes, I don't know if this is just beginning or if it's over right now. Okay, how are we gonna rebuild Hollywood? How are we gonna now? We know that some of this shit is happening. Probably some of the more prevalent names like Weinstein are in jail, and a lot of these people that do this stuff are not around the industry no more. How are we going to clean up? So I think we need to get to that point to where it's like we need to clean up Hollywood, so where black, white, straight,